I slid down against the cold tiles, clutching that Chanel number 43 lipstick in my arms. The one I'd found in his suit pocket that morning, its golden case stained with the scent of his secretary's perfume. Suddenly, the water flow surged, soaking through my swollen lower abdomen. My 5-month pregnant belly paled in the cold water. It was then that I remembered. In the accident insurance policy at the bottom of the drawer, the beneficiary was listed as him, and the effective date was the day I found out I was pregnant. Isabella's fingers hovered over the contract for 3 seconds, her nails unconsciously picking at the edge of the paper. In the glass-walled meeting room of Berlin Starshine Entertainment, the cold air from the air conditioner, mixed with the smell of disinfectant, crept down her collar, making the hairs on the back of her neck stand up. Her agent, Hans, adjusted his gold-rimmed glasses, the metal frames glinting with a cold sheen. "Sign it, and you'll be an official member. Tomorrow, you'll start rehearsing with Sophia and the others. Your vocal range is perfect for the choruses." Isabella swallowed, her Adam's apple bobbing against the necklace around her neck, a silver music note pendant left by her mother, now digging painfully into her collarbone. Across the table, Sophia stirred her iced coffee with a straw. The crisp clink of ice against the cup sounded like a faint warning. Suddenly, her metallic chain bag slipped from her lap and crashed onto the tile floor that a limited edition microphone rolled out of the bag, bouncing twice on the ground. The gold-plated patterns on its body cracked with a sharp sound, splitting cleanly into 2 pieces. The recording studio fell so quiet you could hear the hum of the air conditioner's outdoor unit. Sophia shot to her feet, her fingernails digging into Isabella's wrist as if she meant to carve into her bones. "You kicked my bag?" "It wasn't me." Isabella struggled, her elbow knocking over the coffee cup. Brown liquid spilled out, seeping across the edge of the contract and soaking the bold font of Euro 2 million in liquidated damages. The ink bled across the paper like an indelible scar. Hans bent down to pick up the broken microphone, his thumb brushing the split edge. "This is a custom piece from the sponsor. Only 3 exist in the world. She's been jealous of my lead vocalist spot since last week." Sophia pulled out her phone, the screen lighting up to show a message sent 5 minutes earlier from Isabella's account. The words stung. "I'll get you out of the C position sooner or later." Isabella's eyes widened, her fingertips cold. "I didn't send that." My phone was on the vanity the whole time. The red light of the surveillance camera at the end of the hallway flickered on and off like a prying eye. Sophia's sister, Caroline, walked in, her high heels clicking. The hem of her Chanel coat brushed Isabella's trembling shoulder, leaving a sickly sweet perfume scent. She gave Hans a subtle look and lowered her voice. "It's taken care of. The original footage is deleted, and so are the backups." 3 days later, under the Twitter trending topic hashtag #BullyIsabella, an edited video posted by Sophia's fans had over 1 million views. In the clip, Isabella's foot just happened to be in front of where the bag fell, with an incendiary caption, "Calculating bitch deliberately broke a €1 million device to steal the C position." The window of her rental apartment was cracked by a thrown rock, and her landlord's shouts mixed with the jeers outside. "The TV station's here to film your breach of contract. Move out now. Don't drag me down with you." 5 years later, at the audition for The Voice of Germany, Isabella had just finished singing the first verse of Roses and Thorns when a plastic water bottle flew from the audience, hitting her collarbone dead on. "Liar!" A girl wearing a Sophia fan cap screamed, standing up and holding a sign that read "Bully, get off the stage." The red lights on the judge's panel lit up one after another. The judge in the middle adjusted his glasses. "Your singing lacks sincerity. It feels more like you're just checking a box." The fluorescent tubes in the dressing room hummed, the sound of electricity mingling with murmurs from outside. Isabella stared at herself in the mirror, dabbing concealer repeatedly over the bruise on her collarbone, a mark left by a stagehand who deliberately knocked her over during the dress rehearsal the day before. Her phone vibrated in her pocket. Her banking app notified her account balance, €379.20. She unlocked the screen. Her lock screen was a photo from her audition 5 years earlier. 18-year-old her in a sequin dress, the tiny diamonds on the hem glinting like a galaxy under the stage lights. Clutching the very microphone that would later be smashed, her thumb unconsciously brushed the sequin dress in the photo. In the mirror, the woman before her had dark circles under her eyes and a faint scratch at the corner of her mouth, left by Marcus when he grabbed her chin during an argument the previous week. "Need some concealer?" The makeup artist handed her a sponge, her gaze lingering on Isabella's phone screen. "Is that you? You looked lovely." Isabella quickly turned off the screen, her fingertips white from the force. She pulled her collar tighter to cover the bruise on her collarbone. "No, thanks. My husband doesn't like the smell of makeup." In the parking lot, Marcus's black Mercedes flashed its hazard lights. He rolled down the window, flicking ash onto the tip of Isabella's shoe. Gray, ash leaving a stain on her beige canvas sneakers. "How'd the audition go?" The judges said, "Get in the car." Marcus cut her off, tapping his finger on the steering wheel. "Mr. Anderson's cocktail party starts at 7. Don't be late." Sophia's new single suddenly came on the car radio, its cloying melody wrapping around the cabin like syrup. Isabella reached to turn down the volume, but Marcus slapped her hand away, hard enough to make her fingertips tingle. "Do you know how much the down payment for this car was? 30,000 euros. And what about you? You couldn't even get into a children's choir. What else can you do besides sing?" The windshield wipers swept across the glass in arcs, the squeak of rubber grating on metal, its cracks eerily similar to the broken microphone's patterns from years ago. In the rearview mirror, the wedding band on Marcus's ring finger glinted coldly. She'd bought that ring with her last savings. He'd said, "We need to look the part for our marriage." When they got home, Marcus blocked the entrance, his arms crossed over his chest. "Give me your credit card. What did you buy on Amazon yesterday?" Isabella gripped the strap of her bag, her knuckles white. Just vocal training books. Basic music theory stuff." Again with this. Marcus snatched her tote bag, yanking the zipper so hard it snapped. Membership cards spilled onto the floor. A class pass for the Berlin Music Academy, a punch card for a karaoke studio, and a yellowed sheet of sheet music. He stepped on one of the academy passes, grinding his heel into it repeatedly, sneering. "The Berlin Music Academy? This is the 3rd time? I told you, stop wasting your time on this useless crap." A sharp crash of glass came from the basement, shrill as nails on a chalkboard. Isabella raced down to find Marcus swinging a golf club. Her debut commemorative record shattered into a spiderweb of cracks under the club. Black shards of vinyl splattered against the wall like blooming ink stains. In one shard, 18-year-old her smiled and made a V sign. The 2017 date printed below the photo was split to pieces by the cracks. "If I catch you sneaking off to those classes again." Marcus loosened his tie, revealing a red scratch on his neck. "Left when she'd fought back the last time. Next time, it'll be your trophies that break." On the day she entered her 5th month of pregnancy, Isabella was tidying Marcus's suit pocket when her fingers brushed something thin and long. Pulling it out, she saw the golden case of Chanel No. 43 lipstick glint in the light. She'd seen it before. The secretary had used this shade to touch up her makeup at lunch. An orange-tinged red, it looked like a ripe tomato on the lips. The bathroom mirror was fogged with steam, reflecting her puffy face and the dark circles she couldn't hide. Marcus's phone screen was still on. His photo album held selfies of his secretary, taken in their bedroom. The woman was wearing Isabella's silk nightgown, and the corner of her mouth was painted with that very Chanel No. 43. "Explain this." Isabella walked out of the bathroom holding the lipstick, her voice as fragile as paper, weaker even than the words "fetal heartbeat normal" on her prenatal test report. Marcus snatched the lipstick and tossed it straight into the toilet. The swirling water dragged the golden case down. Suddenly, he locked the bathroom door from the outside, pressing his thumb to her forehead and shoving her against the tile wall. "Calm down. Stop being so unreasonable." In the darkness, the showerhead suddenly spurted cold water, soaking through her pajamas. Isabella beat her fists against the door, her knuckles turning red, but from outside came the sound of the TV. News coverage of Sophia's charity concert. Sophia wore a white gown and a distinctive pendant around her neck. A closer look revealed it was shaped like the broken microphone that a sharp pain suddenly twisted in her abdomen. Isabella slid down into the puddle, her fingers brushing a hard cardboard box. An unopened pregnancy test she'd hidden in the back of the bathroom cabinet. She bought it when her period was late last time, but had never dared to use it on the day she gave birth. As a nurse wheeled the bassinet in, a delivery worker arrived with a package. When Isabella opened it, the nurse gasped. "That's too much." On the chest of the light blue baby onesie, stitched in gold thread, was the word ersatz, replacement. The tag bore the secretary's name. Isabella stared at the 2 letters. Her breast milk suddenly leaked through her hospital gown, leaving dark stains like rivers on a map. "Mrs. Marcus?" The nurse hesitated, holding out a clipboard. Her pen hovered over the guardian line. "Your husband said he has an urgent work matter and can't make it right now. He asked you to sign first." Light snow fell outside, tiny flakes sticking to the window before melting into streaks of water. Isabella mechanically patted the baby in her arms. The infant's eyes were closed, its tiny fists clenched tight. Her phone lit up on the nightstand. A text from an unknown number arrived, containing a photo. Marcus's hand resting on the secretary's waist, the background the elevator hall of the obstetrics VIP ward. On the secretary's finger was a diamond ring, the same style Isabella had admired in a jewelry store window, the one Marcus had said, "We can't afford" for her birthday the previous month. The photo on the screen stung her eyes. The newborn squirmed in her arms, its cries cutting at her temples like a dull knife. "Mrs. Marcus?" The nurse called again. The edge of the clipboard was stained with coffee, left by Marcus's assistant, who dropped it off earlier. Isabella signed with her left hand, her right thumb still hovering over the photo's zoom button. In the reflection of the secretary's diamond ring, she could see the elevator hall clock. The time was exactly when she'd been wheeled into the delivery room. The sound of high heels approached, growing louder. The secretary stood at the door, holding a bouquet of sunflowers, her lips freshly touched up with Chanel number 43, its orange-red hue striking under the pale lights. "Marcus sent me to see the baby," she said, deliberately wiggling her diamond ring. Petals fell to the floor. "She looks just like him, doesn't she? Especially the eyes." Isabella felt for the nurse call button by the bed, pressing hard. "Security? Obstetrics Ward 302. There's an unauthorized person harassing a patient. Please come immediately." The secretary threw the bouquet into the trash, sunflower petals scattering everywhere. "Who do you think you're fooling? Even your baby's diaper money comes from him. Without him, you'd be living on the streets." 3 months later, in family court, Isabella clutched the hospital surveillance screenshots, footage from the night Marcus had locked her in the bathroom, captured by the hallway camera. The judge flipped through the documents, his brow furrowed. Mr. Marcus is willing to pay €2,000 in monthly child support on the condition that you forfeit your share of the property and do not interfere with his visitation rights. "What about the surveillance from the night he locked me in the bathroom? And the photos of him shoving me into a wall?" Isabella's voice trembled as she pushed the evidence bag forward. "The surveillance contains no proof of water stains, so we cannot confirm your claim of being doused in cold water. The angle of the photos does not prove Mr. Marcus was the one who shoved you." The judge rapped his gavel. "This evidence is inadmissible. We will reconvene next week to discuss child custody." In the courthouse hallway, Isabella held Emma, her 4-year-old daughter from her late ex-husband, who died in a car accident before she met Marcus. The child could now mumble mommy. A man in a gray suit approached, handing her a cup of hot cocoa. The cup bore the logo of a child rights organization. "I'm Lucas, a volunteer here. We have a team that can help you gather evidence of Marcus abusing the children." A silver anti-domestic violence pin on his cuff glinted in the light. Isabella stared at the mud on his shoes, as if he'd just come from the countryside. "Why help me?" "My sister." Lucas's Adam's apple bobbed. He pulled up a photo on his phone, a tombstone dated the previous winter. Her husband pushed her down the stairs, and she lost the baby. She didn't make it. "I don't want to see anyone else suffer like she did." That night, Lucas emailed her. The attachments included hotel receipts from Marcus and his secretary, spanning from the previous summer to the present, plus a video from a supermarket parking lot, Marcus grabbing Emma's arm and shoving her roughly into the car. The child cried, her face bright red, her small shoes scraping against the ground. "Is this enough?" Isabella sat at her computer, her fingers trembling as she typed. The screen's glow reflected in her eyes like two faint flames. Lucas replied instantly, "No. We need direct evidence of him abusing the children. Tomorrow, I'll come install hidden cameras in your house, one in the kids' room." The next day, Lucas arrived with an equipment case, smelling faintly of disinfectant, as if he'd just come from hospital. "We can hide one in the teddy bear in the kids' room. The lens will face the crib, so it'll capture how Marcus treats the baby." As he stood on a ladder to tuck the camera into the bear, his hair slipped from the back of his neck, revealing a numerical tattoo, like a prison ID number. "A prison number?" Isabella blurted out, instantly regretting it. The screwdriver in Lucas's hand clattered to the floor. He bent to pick it up, his voice hoarse. "Juvenile Detention Center. I stole a car when I was 16, got 2 years. After I got out, I became a volunteer, wanted to make up for some things." He smiled bitterly and rolled up his sleeve, revealing several cigarette burns forming the Chinese characters for Panjik, liar. "I was stupid back then. Tricked a lot of people. These are my lessons." 3 weeks later, the evidence bag was stuffed full. Lucas visited late at night, his eyes alight with excitement. "I got something big." He turned on a voice recorder. Marcus's voice poured out, slurred with alcohol. "Once the ruling comes through, I'll send that brat to a boarding school. That way, Isabella can't use the kid as an excuse anymore. And the baby, don't let her take care of her either. She's a nuisance." Isabella's hands shook as she poured coffee. Hot water splashed on her thumb, making her flinch. "How did you record this? He never says things like this at home. Trade secret." Lucas suddenly leaned close, his breath mixing with the bitter scent of coffee. "By the way, you should check your prenatal medical records. I suspect he put something in your milk. Did you always feel dizzy during your pregnancy?" The cologne and sweat on his body reminded Isabella of the cocktail party where she'd first met Marcus. She'd worn a lavender gown that night, and Marcus had approached with a wine glass, saying, "I've heard you sing. You're very talented." Now, she realized, it had just been empty flattery. The night before the custody hearing, Lucas brought her a black formal dress, perfectly tailored. "Wear this." Judges like victims who look put together. He reached out to smooth a wrinkle in the skirt, his fingertips brushing her wrist accidentally. "Good luck tomorrow." You'll get custody. Isabella ran her hand along the dress's lining, feeling an ink stain, the mark of a dry cleaner. The shop's name was familiar, the high-end dry cleaner Caroline frequented. She said nothing, just folded the dress and placed it on her bedside table. In court. The courtroom erupted in murmurs as the surveillance video played. On screen, Marcus grabbed Emma's hair and pushed her face into the swimming pool. The child's face submerged, coughing violently, her small arms flailing above the water. Lucas gave her a thumbs up from the gallery, a smile on his face, but his phone slipped from his pocket, the screen lighting up. Isabella bent to pick it up. Her fingers had just touched the case when she saw the folder being uploaded on the screen. Isabella's medical records / for sale. The latest file was her psychological assessment from the previous week, diagnosing moderate postpartum depression. The photo had clearly been taken secretly, with her bedroom in the background. Guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. The judge's ruling rang out, making her ears ache. Isabella stared at the scrap of paper stuck to Lucas's shoe. It was the wrapper from her antidepressant pill bottle, which she'd thrown in the trash the day before. During the recess, Lucas cornered her in the fire escape, his tone urgent. Let me explain. Those photos are, how much are they paying you? Isabella held up her phone, showing him the recording interface. It had been running for 3 minutes. The son? Bild? Or is it Sophia's sister, Caroline? The guilt vanished from Lucas's face. He loosened his tie, a strange smile spreading across his lips, like a snake flicking its tongue. Guess how much Caroline is willing to pay for your postpartum depression diagnosis? She said if I can get photos of you self-harming, she'll double it. You and Sophia. Isabella stepped back, her back hitting the fire hydrant. The metal edge dug into her spine, and cold sweat broke out all over her. Ms. Caroline pays well, better than volunteering. Lucas twirled his car keys. The keychain was a tiny microphone, just like the pendant around Sophia's neck. Oh, and by the way, Child Protective Services will come take Emma tomorrow. I already reported you anonymously for being emotionally unstable and a potential danger to the child. The next morning, at the hearing, the judge rapped his gavel and dismissed Emma's testimony. A 4-year-old claiming her father forced her to choke on pool water, without medical evidence. This cannot be accepted. Marcus's lawyer pushed a stack of photos toward the judge. Your Honor, this is the child's medical report. It shows she has a history of fantasy disorder and often talks about things that don't exist. Isabella snatched the report, her fingers white from the force. This is clearly her allergy test. She's allergic to mangoes. It says mango contact dermatitis, not fantasy disorder. Order. The judge frowned as he listened to the recording Lucas had provided. The defendant's remarks in the recording are inappropriate, but not enough to revoke his custody rights. Given the plaintiff's emotional instability, the defendant will temporarily care for both children. The plaintiff may visit once a week. When the gavel fell, Marcus mimed shooting her, a provocative smile on his face. In the parking lot. Emma sat in her car seat, sobbing and hiccuping. Mommy, Daddy said. He said next time he'll make me drink toilet water. And if I tell you, he'll lock you in the basement. Isabella buried her face in the child's hair, smelling the cigarette smoke on her collar. Marcus had smoked in front of Emma again the day before. In the rearview mirror, Lucas shook hands with Marcus's lawyer, exchanging a look that seemed like a celebration that on Christmas Eve, the snow fell heavily, covering the Christmas tree outside in white. Isabella sat on the sofa, reading Sleeping Beauty to Emma. The child's small head rested on her lap. Suddenly, an entertainment news segment popped up on TV. Sophia was being interviewed, dabbing at her eyes with a tissue, her mascara smudged black. I forgave my former teammate who bullied me a long time ago, she said through tears. I hope she can also move past her trauma and start over. At the bottom of the screen, the hashtag Angel Sophia trended with a red hot label. Emma suddenly pointed at the screen, her small finger tapping Sophia's neck. Mommy, that aunt's necklace. It looks like the microphone in your photo. Isabella's coffee cup crashed to the carpet. Brown liquid spread across the fabric, just like the coffee that had spilled on the contract 5 years earlier, leaving a dark stain that would never come out. The bathroom mirror reflected the crisscrossing old scars on her wrists, some from Marcus's grip, others from when she'd broken down and cut herself. As a razor blade hovered above her vein, Emma's crayon drawing drifted under the door, landing at her feet. On the paper, a childlike figure in a sequin dress held a microphone. Next to it, written in colored pencil, were the words Christmas gift from Mommy. The handwriting was unsteady, some strokes crooked, as a drop of blood fell into the bathtub. Isabella heard the electronic lock at the entrance click open. Lucas hummed Silent Night as he approached. His footsteps stopped at the bathroom door. Darling, I brought you a big gift, a summons from Child Protective Services. They'll come take the kids tomorrow. His keys jangled as he inserted one into the lock. But just as the key turned, his phone rang. its shrill tone shattering the bathroom silence. What? Now? Lucas's voice turned frantic, his footsteps retreating toward the entrance. Damn it. Why would the police be looking for me? I'll be right there. When the door slammed shut, the water in the bathtub had turned pale pink. Isabella stared at the mold stain on the ceiling. Emma had pointed at it the day before, saying, "Mommy, it looks like a butterfly." The stained shape did resemble a butterfly with outstretched wings. Blood loss blurred her vision, but she faintly heard Emma crying outside, mixed with a nurse's voice, the community nurse, who visited weekly to check on Emma. She must have arrived early that day. "Ms. Isabella, open up." The nurse's voice was urgent. "Emma says you're in the bathroom. You haven't come out in ages." When she opened her eyes again, the smell of disinfectant stung her nose. On the nightstand, the crayon drawing was pressed under a sheet of glass. In the sunlight, the two figures in the drawing held hands, standing in a field of blooming roses, their petals colored bright red and pink. "Mommy's awake." Emma threw herself onto the bed, her cuffs stained with paint from the day before when she'd forgotten to wash her hands. "I worked on it for 3 days. I added a new rose every day." The TV played the morning news. On the screen was a photo of a man, Lucas, in a prison uniform, his hair messy. The anchor's mechanical voice announced, fraudster Lucas Meyer, suspected of selling celebrities' private information, was arrested after police found a large number of unsold medical record photos in his apartment, involving multiple public figures. Meyer is currently in custody, and the case is under further investigation. The bad uncle got arrested by the police. Emma whispered in her ear, twisting the hem of her hospital gown. "The ladies from Child Services came just now. They said I can live with Mommy forever. I don't have to go to Daddy's house anymore." Isabella tried to hug her, but found her left hand still connected to an IV drip. The needle pricked the back of her hand, a faint ache. With her right hand, she reached for the remote and pressed a button. The TV switched to entertainment news. Sophia stood on a press conference stage, her face streaked with tears, one false eyelash hanging off her cheek. Behind her, a blurry video played, footage from a 2017 practice room. Sophia herself picked up the microphone, slammed it hard on the floor, then shouted toward the door. "Isabella pushed me." Former Starshine Entertainment makeup artist Lisa provided the backup footage, the reporter said, speaking rapidly with excitement. Sources say Lisa secretly recorded this at the time and hid it in an old hard drive. Former Starshine agent Hans is suspected of perjury and has been summoned by police. Sophia's team has declined to comment. Emma suddenly pointed at the screen. "It's the necklace ant." The broken microphone pendant around Sophia's collarbone glinted under the cameras, its golden patterns striking in the light. A wave of nausea hit Isabella. She suddenly remembered the feel of iced coffee spilling on the contract 5 years earlier, the sticky liquid dripping down her fingers, cold as ice. The nurse walked in to change her bandages, glancing at Sophia on TV and raising an eyebrow. "You haven't heard? It's blowing up online." The trending topics exploded yesterday. She moved gently as she removed the gauze, avoiding the scars on Isabella's wrists. "Reporters tried to sneak into the ward to interview you this morning, but security stopped them." Isabella touched the bruise on the back of Emma's neck, a mark from Marcus's belt buckle the previous week, when Emma had refused to drink the milk he'd handed her, saying, "Mommy said not to." The child flinched, snuggling closer to her. "Marcus." Her throat was so hoarse she could barely speak. The nurse handed her a glass of warm water and propped up her pillow. Child Protective Services reopened the investigation. The surveillance cameras in your neighborhood captured Marcus hitting Emma, and footage of him sneaking something into your milk, apparently a sedative. They sent it for testing. The TV cut to footage of Marcus being led out of the courtroom. He wore a crumpled suit, his tie askew, his hair messy. Subtitles rolled. Marcus Cohen, convicted of child abuse and intentional assault, sentenced to 2 years of probation. During this period, he is prohibited from contacting his ex-wife or children. Emma suddenly climbed under the covers, burying her face in Isabella's waist. Her small body still trembled. "He can't hurt you anymore." Isabella stroked the child's shaking back. The beep of the heart monitor mixed with Sophia's sobs on the news, forming a strange melody. The shadow of a sycamore tree outside fell on the hospital bed. When the wind blew, the shadow split into spots of light that landed in Emma's hair. Emma looked up, tears still glistening on her eyelashes. She opened her palm, revealing a tiny seed. She'd picked it from the hospital flower bed. The nurse, Auntie, said this is a rose seed. If we plant it in a pot, it will bloom. Isabella thought of the pale pink swirls in the bathtub. Now, they had turned into the roses in the child's drawing, blooming bright and vivid. The nurse suddenly lowered her voice. "You have a visitor." At the door stood a woman wearing a baseball cap pulled low over her face, clutching a brown paper bag. Isabella instinctively pulled Emma closer, but then heard the woman say, "I'm Lisa. I was the makeup artist at Starshine Entertainment back then. I did your makeup for the audition." The woman took off her cap, revealing a ferocious scar at the corner of her eye, stretching from her temple to her cheekbone, its pale pink color indicating new skin. When Caroline had someone throw sulfuric acid at me, I knew she'd never let me go. Lucky for me, I'd had the sense to record the backup footage from the practice room and hide it in my old wardrobe back home. She placed the paper bag on the nightstand. Inside was a black USB drive. "Everything's here, including the recordings of them bribing the Voice of Germany judges to sabotage you, and evidence of Hans committing perjury." On TV, Sophia was still bowing and apologizing, her voice choked, but the audience had started booing. Someone threw an egg, splattering yellow on her gown. Isabella stared at the scar on Lisa's eye. "Why didn't you come forward sooner? All these years, my daughter died from a drug overdose last week." Lisa's nails dug into her palm, her knuckles white. She was a diehard fan of Sophia's. To look like Sophia, she starved herself and got plastic surgery every day. In the end, she took too many diet pills and couldn't be saved. A photo slipped out of the paper bag of a 15-year-old girl smiling at the camera, her wrist covered in tiny carvings of Sophia, the lines deep as if made with a utility knife. Emma reached out curiously for the photo, but Isabella quickly tucked it under her pillow. The heart monitor beeped rapidly. She realized her breathing had grown fast, her chest tight. Lisa pulled the curtains closed to block the sunlight. The police are still investigating the connection between Marcus and Lucas. They seem to have known each other for a long time. Marcus had someone handle Lucas's release from prison. She nodded toward the window. A black Mercedes slowly drove past the hospital wing, its license plate covered in mud, unreadable. Isabella squeezed Emma's hand. The child still held the crayon, its tip broken. "Mommy." Emma looked up, the crayon slipping from her fingers that a public service announcement about anti-domestic violence suddenly cut into the TV. The woman in the ad looked like her, and at the end, she smiled and said, "Speak up bravely, and you'll see the sunlight." Emma pointed at the screen. "Mommy, that looks like you." Isabella smiled, even as tears rolled down her cheeks. She kissed the child's paint-stained fingers. "Yes, it does. From now on, we'll all be okay." The sound of police sirens approached from far away. Isabella peeked through the curtain gap. The black Mercedes had been stopped by police at the entrance. Caroline was led out of the car in handcuffs. The news on TV quickly updated. Former Starshine Entertainment CEO Caroline Schneider, suspected of bribing witnesses, intentional assault, and hiring stalkers, has been arrested. The case is under further investigation. Emma clapped her hands. The bad ant got arrested. She jumped off the bed, dancing to the music on TV. Her cast shoe made clumsy tapping sounds on the floor. Isabella's vision blurred. All the records shattered by Marcus, the dreams smudged by Sophia, and the trust betrayed by Lucas. At this moment, they all transformed into the shadow of the child dancing, leaping in the sunlight. The heart monitor's rhythm steadied, and to its regular beep, she softly hummed Roses and Thorns, the song she'd sung at the audition 5 years earlier. Her voice was hoarse, but steady. Nurses passing by in the hallway stopped to listen. Some pulled out their phones to record. No edits, no smears, just a mother and her child, humming and dancing in a hospital room. On TV, the Voice of Germany's official account released an apology video. The judges bowed toward the camera. "We apologize to Ms. Isabella. Years ago, due to external pressure, we failed to evaluate her singing fairly. We sincerely invite Ms. Isabella to participate in the show again and showcase her talent." Isabella looked at the screen, touching the silver music note pendant around her neck, her mother's keepsake. Marcus had broken it 5 years earlier, but she'd had a jeweler repair it. The pendant glinted in the light, like a tiny star. "Mommy, let's go home and plant the rose seed." Emma jumped back onto the bed, her eyes bright. "I want to watch it bloom." "Okay." Isabella nodded, her tears falling into the child's hair. "We'll go home and plant roses, lots of them on the balcony. We'll see them bloom every day." Sunlight filtered through the curtain gap, falling on the crayon drawing. The figure in the sequin dress seemed to come alive, the microphone in its hand glinting. In the background, the rose bushes grew toward the sunlight.